I make it a habit to read close to 100 books a year. I know it sounds extreme, but I do it anyway. I have been for the past few years. I do it not because I am trying to impress anyone, not because I'm chasing productivity, not even because I want to learn more. I do it because I want to. I don't want to always be alone in my mind because sometimes reading is relational, it's company, and over time, it has also become a filter, a way of deciding what kind of voices I allow near me and which ones I quietly step away from. I've learned that loneliness is not always about the absence of people, it's often about the absence of recognition. You can sit in a crowded room and still feel internally isolated. Then you open a book and a stranger from another country, another century writes a sentence that feels like it was pulled directly from your chest. That moment changes something. You're no longer the only one who has felt that way. When I read James Baldwin articulating more complexity, I feel intellectually accompanied. When I read Elena Ferrante describing female friendship with raw honesty, I feel emotionally understood. When I read Albert Camus confronting absurdity, I feel less strange for questioning meaning. I don't feel alone with these writers. They're not physically present in my life, but their minds sit with me. That is not escapism, that is curated companionship. And here's where journaling becomes important. After I read, I don't just move on. I write one page, sometimes about a single paragraph that struck me, sometimes about a disagreement I had with the author, sometimes about a realization that unsettled me. That page is where I integrate the company I just kept. Because not all company influences you equally. Think about it. The conversations you engage in daily shape your thinking. So do the authors you read. If you spend hours consuming shallow, reactive voices, your inner dialogue becomes reactive. If you consistently read carefully, reflective thinkers, your internal tone shifts. Reading 100 books a year is not about volume, it's about exposure. It's about choosing the kind of minds I want shaping mine. Irvin D. Yalom wrote extensively about existential isolation, the idea that at a fundamental level we're alone in our experience. Literature doesn't erase that truth, but it softens it. Because when someone else articulates your confusion, your grief, your ambition, you feel accompanied in the struggle. And journaling after reading deepens that companionship. You ask yourself, what did I feel less alone in while reading this? What truth did this writer articulate that I haven't said out loud? What kind of courage did this book normalize? Over time, patterns emerge. You start noticing which authors feel grounding, which ones feel agitating, which ones expand you, which ones subtly encourage bitterness or cynicism. This is where reading becomes discernment. Not every voice deserves your intimacy, not every book deserves your internal space. If a book consistently leaves me feeling small, reactive, or emotionally cluttered, I pay attention and I step back. If a book leaves me clearer, braver, or more compassionate, I note that too. Your reading life becomes a mirror of your relational life. Who do you let influence you? Who do you return to? Who drains you? Who steadies you? When I say I read to feel less alone, I don't mean I avoid human relationships. I mean I strengthen my internal ones. Because when you have a rich inner companionship with thinkers, poets, novelists, you become less desperate for validation from the wrong places. It's important. You choose your real life company more carefully. You tolerate less noise, you recognize shallow conversation faster, not from arrogance, from calibration. Your standards shift quietly, and your personal journal becomes the record of that shift. There are pages where I've written, "This book reminded me I'm not unreasonable. This essay made me question my defensiveness. This novel showed me a version of courage I hadn't considered." Those reflections accumulate, they shape your emotional architecture. Reading widely also reminds you that your current struggle is not unique to your generation. Centuries ago, someone wrestled with ambition, jealousy, love, meaning, power. It's all been there. Someone has been there, just like you. When you read Dostoevsky grappling with guilt or Woolf articulating inner doubt, you realize the human condition has always been layered. That realization humbles you. It steadies you, it reduces panic. Tonight, if you're feeling isolated in something, confusion, heartbreak, ambition, frustration, pick up a book intentionally, not to distract, but to connect. Then open your journal and write one page about what felt familiar, what felt like recognition, because reading is not just consumption, it is companionship. And over time, the voices you consistently sit with will shape the voice you become. Choose them carefully and write about why.